Let's face it, summer scouting can at times be very unpleasant with the excessive heat and all the insects, but it's got to get done if you want to have success when the fall arrives, when the deer season opens. You got to have an idea where to go, and the best time to do that is during the summer. You don't have to take a lot of preparation and scent control, and just hike out here and get a good idea what the deer are doing, and then check back a few weeks before the season opens and see if there's still good sign on the spots you picked. So I like to pick a lot of spots to hunt deer, and to do that and be a little more comfortable, you want to take advantage of any break you can get. Now, a couple days ago we had torrential rain come through, and a front came along and dropped the temperatures down out of the 90s into lows in the 70s, and today's predicted to be a high of 80. So I'm getting an early start, but I'm barely even sweating out here. It's really pleasant. It's a great day to get out here, and we still got several months before the season, so I didn't have to spend a lot of money on scent control. Okay, while I'm out here doing my summer scouting, I'm not just looking for new spots. I'm actually out here checking on a few old spots too. Now this here is a spot that I had scouted last year. Now remember I told you Dana got me a new GPS for Christmas. So I'm transferring spots that I had in the old unit into the new one too. This one looks really good. There's still a lot of track along the trail here. I was out here last year with Michael and we scouted this so we could hunt close together. There's another tree right over here that he intends to hunt from. This one here was the one I had picked, but we couldn't come back in here and hunt it because there was a huge bald-faced hornet's nest right in that little tree beside the one I was planning on climbing over there. So we didn't come back in here and hunt this, but it still looks good. The camera out here sitting about on the deer trail, and that tree there is about 20 yards from this trail. Still got some sign on it. You do want to get out over the summer, even if you don't want to scout new spots, and take a good hard look at the spots you've been hunting from, because a lot of times a tree can die, either the one you planned on climbing or one next to it that could fall down and really hurt you if you get out here and it gets a little windy while you're up in your tree. You don't want to hunt around dead trees or big dead branches over your head. So even if you don't go and find new spots this year, make sure you check your old ones. Make sure they're safe to hunt this fall. Get out there a little bit and take a look around at that too. But I got this mark transferred. I'm going to go over here to where I killed that turkey now. See if I can't get back in there and find a spot on all that deer sign I found when I was back in there hunting him. That cool down didn't get rid of many of these mosquitoes. I tell you what, I wish I had a little more bug spray. I'll get some back at the truck as I head over to the other spot. That's where I'm heading now, but I wanted to take a minute and talk about planning your entry and exits. That's very important when you're accessing a stand site so you don't alert deer you're going to it. In this particular spot, I've already scouted this. I scouted it in our video, Unconventional Scouting Tactics for White-tailed Deer, is when I found this spot. And it looked really good except for that hornet's nest. So I'm going to call this spot Hornet's Nest just for my log entries in my GPS. Now that's what you want to use your GPS for. I cannot access this stand in the morning by just tromping right across the open field down the deer trail and climbing up the tree, because I'll bust all the deer off the field that are out there eating before the sun comes up. So what I'm going to do is I'm tracking out the opposite direction, actually west, because I want to hunt that on an east wind or north wind. So I got to come in from the south and the west, and I'm planning a route, clear my track log on my GPS, leave it on, and walk out to where I plan to access this woodlot from the other side, where I don't think the deer are going to be. At least the ones that are upwind of me aren't going to be the ones I'm hunting. What I want to do is leave this running, and as I get out to the edge of the woods here, on your GPS or whatever app you're using, go ahead and log that path into memory. So if I don't get a chance to come back here and check this for sign later, if I got a shot at east wind, I want to climb right up at that moment and get out here, I've got a route planned that's fairly easy to travel in my GPS. It also helps in the dark because you can follow your little red line here in your track memory and your track log memory and get right to it. And that helps a lot if you haven't been back in here for a few weeks and a tree's come down across the trail. If it's dark and you got to go around the fallen tree, chances are you're not going to find your way back onto the trail you're using to get over to your spot quietly. So with a track log in your GPS memory, you can just follow that, and if you got to get off the track and walk around an obstruction that's happened since the last time you were there, you can very easily pick the trail right back up and continue to your tree quickly and quietly in the pre-dawn hours. Oh, that's a shame. This is a shame. You know, another thing you want to look at when you're doing your summer scouting is see what's growing in the fields and stuff, what the deer may be using for food, but not just for deer. This field here is supposed to be our public dove field. Every year they plant it with sunflower seeds and they grow up, and then a couple weeks before the season they come in and bush hog it under, and it's a public dove field. It attracts doves. I stopped by this year to see how it was doing, and it's terrible. The deer have eaten the sunflowers to the ground and left nothing but weeds behind. It's really bad. They tore it up. Looks like it's going to be a total loss this year. So now I've got an idea that not only should I be scouting for the deer that tore this field up, but I should be scouting for another place to hunt doves when that season opens this fall too. You think she'd be a little more worried that I'm over here, wouldn't you? She's out there ripping up sunflowers. I came down here to check the sunflower field. She's out there ripping up sunflowers by the mouthful. There she goes. This field's looking a lot better. I mean, the deer are eating it, but there's a lot of nice looking sunflowers coming up in it. This is the third field, sunflower field I've checked. Let me get back to deer scouting. I can't help it. It's only June. I'm already getting excited for opening day of dove season. Okay, here's that trail I was looking for. And this is the one that I found when I got back on the other side of the swamp when I was turkey hunting this past spring, when those guys got out in that field. Those fields are down over there where I saw that deer feeding in the sunflower field. Now, when guys get in those fields, the deer get pushed back in here and they come across that swamp and get back in this thick stuff. Same thing with the turkeys. That's where they went. When they got pressured, they flew up on the other side of the swamp, and I was able to get back in here behind the swamp, find a spot and kill them. But right now I'm hunting deer, and it's gotten a lot thicker. It's really thick, and I had to get back in here and just, what I did was I should have marked it on my GPS this past spring, but I didn't. So I just busted ass right on through the brush, and I wish I hadn't, because these stinging nettles were lighting me up through my jeans. But I found that trail. I knew if I kept just heading straight out back towards those fields, I would cross this trail. And I did. It's a little harder to see, but this is the spot where these two trails come together. You can see it going back into the brush this way behind me. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to walk this trail. I see more stinging nettles. I guess the deer don't mind them, and try to avoid them now, but I'm going to walk on down in here to where it gets around behind the swamp, and where it gets real thick, the deer use that for security cover, and I'm going to look for a spot back in there to try to find a tree to set up in. Alright, so that trail led me back through the thick and nasty, and I got all cut up by the briars and turned around, and I was just about to give up and head out of this thick mess when I found this. It's an obvious deer bed. It's even got droppings in it. There's another one right behind the tall grass here, and it's right on the edge of the swamp. I'm guessing they flee through the thick stuff and bed here and turn around and watch their back trail. Now, I remember in the last video, I said don't waste your time on thick spots that you can't hunt in. And that's true to a point, but when you find a good spot like this, it might pay to look around a little bit and follow these trails a little more and see if you can't find an opening where you might be able to get a shot at some of these deer making their way back into security cover. That's what I'm going to do now.
Another bed.
Well, here it is. Tree number 5. I was walking around that area where those bucks were bedded, and it's a wall of impenetrable briars. There's just no way to get through it. And I was wondering how that deer got back in there to bed. And I found a little opening in the brush, and I walked through it, crept through it, and I found tracks going right back to the bed. So I was like, yep, that's probably where he's coming in here through this thick stuff. And as I backtracked, the trail opened up here a little bit, and I found this one spot where this dead branch has come down and knocked the understory down. I can get an arrow through there. I'm not going to be able to get very high in that tree. Probably 12, maybe a little opening up there at about 15, 16 feet. I don't know. I'll have to see how it works, but I'm definitely going to mark this trail and make a track log back to the spot so I can get back in here later. The funny thing is, I'm only about 200 yards over from where I found that spot last summer when I was filming Scouting Summer Buck Patterns. All right, I'm out. The bug spray is wearing off, and I left the camp back in the truck, so these mosquitoes are tearing me a new one back in here by this marsh. But I found a couple good spots today. I made sure Hornet's Nest is still okay to hunt, and the bees are gone. I should be able to hunt there, but that's not part of the series. Tree number 5, I am excited about tree number 5 back by those buck beds. I want to hunt that on a north wind in the morning, try to catch them coming back to bed off the fields to the north. So I was heading out to the south after I logged it in my GPS, and I'm making a little track log to find my way back in there, and I hit this dry creek bed that I found originally in the video Scouting Summer Buck Patterns on public land. So it'll be an easy in and out, except for that little patch of thick stuff back there right around the tree I'm going to hunt from. Got high hopes for that. I don't know that we'll be out doing much more scouting videos this summer. I know we'll be out right before the season opens to film probably a few more videos around late summer feeding patterns and try to get on a few hunts for that. But I want to get back in here on tree 5 early season too. We want to get out and do some fishing this summer. Dana's feeling better from her hernia surgery, and she wants to get out and try to outfish me some more. So we may even wind up down on the eastern shore fishing for some snakeheads. So we appreciate your subscription. Don't forget to subscribe. You want to see the videos that are coming up and the hunts when I start hunting these trees I'm scouting. You can use the links provided here at the end of the video to see a few other videos in this scouting series, or join me on the turkey hunt where I found this pattern in the spring. We're www.camochairproductions.com, sharing the outdoors on YouTube, and we hope to see you again real soon.